Whew. It's a little chilly out there. I live in Canada, you know. We spend a lot of times indoors in the winter, and it gives us a lot of time to think about things like compression on bass. Okay, let me take my jacket off. We'll be here for 5 minutes or less. 1, 2, 3, boop. So right now we're gonna blast through a technique for compression. If you think that sounds kind of cool and you might be interested in more like that, I'm gonna run through a whole bunch of stuff and share everything I know with you about it. So it'd be so great if you'd hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss anything. All right, let's have a look at this bass. So remember, the first step is to set up the compressor. So ratio all the way to the top, all the way maxed out, attack all the way fast, release all the way fast, and then you set the threshold. In this compressor, you have to set the input level to get the threshold so that you're getting a good amount of gain reduction. Let's see what this looks like. One key point about this is an 1176 style compressor. It's a little counterintuitive on the attack and the release times. So on most compressors, the lower number is the faster time, and it represents a millisecond, 1 millisecond, 2, 10, 100, or something like that. This is an old style compressor, and it sounds really great. It works the other way. So the higher the number, the faster it is. It's like more fast. Think of it that way. There's a previous episode where I run through the most basic version, and I will of course put the link up here. You might want to check that out before you dig into this one. Step 2, we work on the attack. When the strings are being hit hard, you get a bit of a clunky sound on them. That's okay. I don't really mind that. I'm not going to try and get rid of that. In this instance, it'll help with the impact of the sound. Step 3, we work on the release. So when it's all the way slow, it seems to die a little bit. You can see the needle coming back really slowly. So actually what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the needle to bounce back on the attack. So it's like rebounding off of the hit. So I've got the attack sound dialed in, and now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to do it so that as the bass is attacking, I'm trying to get it so that it's almost acting like a finger. Dung, 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 dung. And that way the sound is recovering just all the way, or 90% of the way, when the next hit happens. Step 4, bring the ratio down so that you don't really hear the compression working as much anymore. I know in this setting that the compression isn't acting in a way that's as obvious, but you'll notice now that I've adjusted it, I'm not getting that same distortion that I was before. Step 5 is adjust the input so that the threshold is right. Now I find with older compressors like this, sometimes you have to do a bit of a dance with the release time and the ratio and the threshold, just because it's a live circuit and this emulates that, and they'll behave a little bit differently. As one parameter changes, it'll affect the other a little bit. So you might have to do a little bit of a dance, but let's see what we got here. So without the compression, sounds pretty good, but if we put the compression in, so two subtle things are happening there. One, we're getting a bit more of a scrape edge on the attacks of the strings, and in the context of the mix, you're going to hear the impact of the sound a little bit more, and it sounds more even. So you'll see the needle moving around a little bit. It's rebounding with the sound, but it's holding it more even, and it makes it sound like the bass player is hitting the string harder, but also more evenly. So here it is in context with the drums. So just to review, set up the compressor as step 1, put the ratio as high as it will go, attack all the way fast, release all the way fast. 2, start slowing down the attack time until you start hearing the edge of the sound the way you'd like to hear it. Now in this instance, I wanted to get some of the attack coming through, a little bit of the impact and the scrape on the string so that it would be more defined and we would hear it in the mix better. Step 3, release the back of the sound, the decay of the sound. And in this instance, I was trying to get the compressor to do a couple things. One was sort of bounce back so that we get a bit of a dance, doong, 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 doong. It makes the compressor kind of dance with the part. You get a rhythmic element, and it really feels nice. The other thing that accomplishes is it makes the notes sound more even. So it makes the bass player sound like he or she is digging into the strings harder and playing them more evenly. It feels more forceful and powerful. Next thing is, on this compressor, you get a little bit of distortion when the ratio is so high. So then we knock the ratio down. 4:1 on this compressor usually works really well for bass. And then we adjust the input, which changes the threshold so that we're getting a more reasonable amount of compression. You hear the bass start to even out. Doesn't sound like anything crazy is going on, but it makes the bass sound like it's more even, it's more forceful, and it definitely makes it feel more upfront. So compression is really fun, and it's so cool when it starts doing the things that you want it to do and you start to hear results. I'm also going to do compression on guitars, and I thought vocals. Hit me in the comments and let me know what you'd like me to cover next. I think this is really fun, and I'll keep focused on this for a minute because what you're going for on vocals or drums or bass or guitar could be a little bit different. Oh, I think we should do acoustic guitar too. That's a good one. How'd I do with the clock? I don't know.